audience, welcome to the Radiant Eclipse MLP Talk Show. This is episode 4, recorded on April 22nd, 2012. My name's Vanicus, and I'll be your guide through this wonderful world of rainbow-colored Equins. Please put your hosts together for this week's co-hosts.
What's up, folks? This is Mastermind, reviewing TV for a better tomorrow.
Hello, this is Flutter Dashy from the EFR chat.
Alright, so every week we start off the show by introducing our special guest. This week's guest is none other than the manliest brony himself, Dusty Cat. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, guys. Okay, well, everybody wants to know what I'm about, right? So, this is what I do. I make comedy, I make music, I have my own live show on Everfree Radio on Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, and I sort of try to bring a little bit of sunshine into everybody's day. My favorite character is Cheerilee. Cheerilee is my favorite character, the teacher. Everybody says, why would it be Cheerilee? Well, one, because she teaches everybody everything, right? Except for Twilight, but there you go. Favorite episode. My favorite episode would be a toss-up between Sweet and Elite and Dress for Success, because I like what Rarity does in those, and I think they're really, really well written. What I enjoy most about this fandom is the openness of creativity that I see in everybody, from artists to music to people doing their own animations to people doing their own voiceover work. It's really incredible to see how much is coming out of this fandom. I really love being a part of it.
Greetings, audience. This is Mastermind, reviewer of MLP episodes as of recently, well, as much as I can. And I'm just a man trying to get by, and I have yet to do anything of real importance to the fandom, but I'm working on it. Oh, favorite character, yes. Kinda tough to call given the events that transpired in the new episode, so I should say that as of right now, my favorite character is Twilight Sparkle. Yeah, because she was at the bottom of the list before the season finale, and you know, this was the first time a pony's taken the number 1 spot in quite a long time, because my original number 1 was Applejack, because she had that family-oriented thing, which, coming from a minorly big family myself, I can relate to that, and I kind of see myself in that kind of support role. As for Twilight Sparkle, she was my number 1 until Applejack took over during the Applebuck season episode, because, you know, she was that character I also held sympathy with, but unfortunately as this series went on, she kind of sunk lower and lower, but until the season finale, she jumped right back on top of that list. I personally have a top 5 list of my favorites, so, well, number 5 is Winter Wrap-Up, because it's a lot of fun. The story was well done, and you know, despite Twilight Sparkle not being at my number 1 at the time, she was still a great character in that episode. And my number 4 would be A Friend Indeed. I'm kind of surprised that some of my Twitter friends don't really feel the same way, but it tells the story of someone trying way too hard to make friends, and that's something I can understand. Plus, the comedy bits were fine. Number 3 is Secret of My Excess, for kind of personal reasons. Well, some of them being that, despite Rarity being at the bottom of my list, I like her very much as a character, and I like how Spike got a real episode. I mean, I know that he had one before in All's Well That Ends Well, but I personally didn't. I'm not saying I didn't like that episode very much, it didn't do much for me, whereas Secret of My Excess did. Yeah, number 2 would have to be Dog and Pony Show. Again, Rarity, great episode, and personally, of all the minor villains, the Diamond Dogs are my favorite. And my number 1, Hurricane Fluttershy, because it not only did it give Fluttershy a lot more to do, it also gave Rainbow Dash that jumpstart in character development that was derailed because of, yeah, May the Best Pet Win was kind of the starting of that derailment, and Mayor Duell was the 5-car pileup. And I'm just glad, and Hurricane Fluttershy, I'm grateful for that episode for giving Rainbow Dash that bit of development back.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Hurricane Fluttershy is actually currently my favorite episode as well. I was really surprised by that one, so still favorite, though season 2 finale came pretty close to taking it.
I just like the overall community that I am discovering all the time, because I've mostly gotten involved with the community fairly recently, and I'm discovering all the time the creativity and the overall niceness of the people involved in it.
Now that everyone's been introduced, it's time to start the show. So, every time we have a new guest, we're obligated to learn about how awesome they are, and the day-to-day activities that make their lives so unique. So, Dusty, how did you become a brony?
I became a brony when my good friend, Caradwin, who actually helps me with everything that I do now, introduced me to the show almost a year ago now. Just one of those, he was running an Advanced Dungeons & Dragons game that I was playing in, and I would come over, and from Nevada at the time when I was working there, and I would stay over. And he said, okay, the game's over and we have time. Like, come on, I gotta show you the show. You gotta show you the show. It's like, what show is that? It's My Little Pony. I went, dude? No, wait, you'll love it. Trust me, you'll love it. He played me the 2-part premiere. And I went, okay, that's kind of cool. And then we got all the way into Sonic Rain Boom, and by that time I was hooked. So it was just one of those all night, watch the thing, show. It's like, and we're really old friends. He knows what I like, I know what he likes. So it's like, you're going to like this. Okay, so I gave it a chance, and it hooked me. That was good.
When did you become a content provider for Everfree Radio? Were you just as surprised as I was when you were invited to the team?
I was asked back when Mando Pony was having one of his little live gig get-together things. And I hadn't been to one, and I just popped in to listen. So I get on the chat, and all of a sudden I got this message from Final Draft. It's like, dude, I've been trying to get contact you. I need to talk to you, blah, 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 blah. I was going, what? And okay, so he gets in another channel with me, and I said, I'm thinking he wants to interview me, because I've been getting some interview requests from some people, and I'm thinking, okay, he wants to interview me. And he goes, first thing out of his type is like, you want your own show? It's like, what? Get me my... So, yeah, there was a lot of that. And so we sort of talked about it, and I had no idea what I was going to do. And he said, well, just come up with something and go with that. So basically, I became, one of the first shows they picked up, which was kind of cool.
It is. You always seem to be making videos. Which ones are the most fun to make?
Oh, that's the most fun videos to make are the ones where I tell a story or I act in it. It's one where you can do some acting, where you can come up with a joke or have a little pun with it or something like that, where I can get dressed up and be something else. So yeah, so it's one of those things where I get to be very creative in what I do. I love to be creative in the type of video filming I do, especially like what I did with the beginning of Smile, 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 which was recreate a little bit of a Western, which was a lot of fun. Got some more plans for that kind of stuff, so keep an eye open.
It's your 44th birthday.
Yes.
Have you gotten any great presents yet?
Oh, I got this awesome present from a musical friend of mine who actually wrote me a song for my birthday. And I was like, okay. And I went and listened to it, and it was awesome. It was really cool. So I didn't expect it, and it was really neat. It was just this little jingle, maybe about 45 seconds long, and it was really neat. Very happy with it. So I got that. I got a couple of things from my local friends, and we're going out to dinner later tonight. So everything's going to be cool.
All right. So if you could interview anyone from Equestria, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's loaded. Oh, that's a loaded question. There's so many characters that you would love to have a conversation with. Oh, God. Of course, I would love to interview Shirley, because she's my favorite pony. And both of us coming from the 80s, I'm sure we'd have a lot to talk about. So it's sort of like, it would be very neat to interview, a character that has some more history or depth to it. You don't really want to interview like Princess Celestia, because it's just too much there. She could talk about, the beginning of time to now, and you'd be dead by the time it was over. But, Shirley is like just old enough that I have some sort of connection with her to speak about Depeche Mode in the 80s or something like that. So that would be awesome.
Are there any other bronies you're currently collaborating with in your programs?
My partner in crime and roommate, Caradwin, is a big brony, the guy who got me into it, and we collaborate on everything from video to music to writing the jokes to all that kind of stuff. So we're basically the team that does this stuff. And then I've been collaborating with a couple of other people that, a couple of things that are on the hush-hush, on the down low, I can't really say anything about yet. So, yeah, there's stuff going on, but I can't really say much about it right now.
So you're the master stallion of cider. So you tell me, who's better, the Flim Flam Brothers or the Apple family?
Well, I had a sip of Flim Flam Brothers, and I couldn't get the taste off my tongue. So, no, I go for Apple family cider every time.
Mine had rocks in it.
Is it true you once bucked an entire Zap apple tree before harvest?
It is true. It is true. Big Mac played a joke on me and said, dude, go, that tree's ready over there. Go buck that one. So I went over there and looked at it, and I said, you sure? You sure this is ready? He said, yeah, it's ready. So I, gave my best, Bruce Lee imitation, kicked the tree, and got my freaking tail zapped for it. And he's laughing. He's over there laughing his freaking head off while I'm sitting on the ground rubbing my brickin' flank because I got zapped. Big Mac's just laughing his freaking... Yeah, I'm going to get that boy.
So, are you ever going to lose the stash?
It would probably crack the space-time continuum. For all of you people, I will never take the stash off because it might crack reality. Not happening.
So, did anyone feel Queen Chrysalis acted a lot like the great and powerful Trixie? Maybe it was her eyes. Or perhaps the fact they were both voiced by Kathleen Barr. So, what are your thoughts on this new epic villain? What does this mean for Discord? Will there ever be a Dark Alliance?
I personally like to call her Trixie 2.0, because she's like Trixie, but 1,000 times evil.
1,000 times evil. Nice.
I'm just saying, because you look at that, you look at that, and there will be many bricks. Though she is intimidating in a visual sense, I don't think she's got nothing on Discord, because, let's be honest, he has more power, and in the end, that's what it really all comes down to.
Yes, but she has the feminine wiles, so she not only used her feminine wiles, then she brought chaos on top of it. And it was like, ooh, double play.
Yeah, but Discord is more bombastic, and that in the end, and that unpredictability about him is it may lean that in his favor.
Well, let's look back when Discord arrived in Equestria. He was already inside the palace, and there was nothing Celestia could do about it. However, with Chrysalis, Shining Armor had a barrier up for a good time, keeping the remainder of the changelings out. Now, of course, Chrysalis was disguised as Cadence without their knowing. So I'm not sure was she just as capable as Discord, and she wasn't just gonna play her hand, or her hoof, I should say, for the counterattack.
Not to mention the fact that she could, feed off of love of someone else to gain power over Celestia.
Yeah, I don't think Discord could do that.
Yeah, I think she was a more like full character that was cooler. That she could do more things or less things, but she had to do more things in order to get where she was, making her a lot cooler than Discord, like a cooler enemy, I guess.
Well, I think what I see is Chrysalis is definitely more the calculating, more calculating evil villain in the sense. Discord's the kind of guy where you see he's evil, but he wants to take over the world, but he wants to
Buy some apples!
with us first. Chrysalis is the one that means business, so I think I like them both just as equally, but for opposite reasons. Chrysalis is the scary
Buy some apples!
one, and Discord's the
Buy some apples!
in the mind villain.
I really liked her character. I know she played the typical Bond villain in the end, but I really liked the way she was played. I know it was your cardboard cutout evil villain plotline, but the way it was acted, the way it was animated, still made it come over. Some people were complaining about it, but I don't. You know what? It's still a kid show, people. It's still a kid show.
She kind of reminds me of Slade from Teen Titans or Ebon from Static Shock.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, Slade is your typical comic book villain. I mean, he's right down the line. He does it. This is the way a comic book villain is supposed to be written, and that's the way he's written. And the Queen is supposed in this type of story is supposed to be written that way, and that's the way it went. And it was done well for what it was. I mean, this is what's supposed to be, and it was done very well. So I happen to applaud them for that.
They brought back the Diamond Dogs caves, the underground caverns. I know PK, who's the author of Antipodes, he used the caves as a huge part of his story, so I'm sure he appreciated the additional canonization of it.
Well, those weren't not actually called Diamond Dog Caves.
Oh no,
They were just the caves,
yeah.
The caves under Canterlot, which I think was more like say the caves that are under the city of Paris, the real city of Paris, that were actually limestone that they carved out to actually build the city.
Those are called catacombs.
Yes, the catacombs. So I have a feeling that the caves underneath Canterlot are actually the catacombs that they used to quarry the rock that created the city. Sort of like Paris.
I officially coined the term Canterlot Catacombs.
Yay!
Good job, Dusty.
You heard it from us, folks. It's the Canterlot Catacombs.
Now the only thing we have to find out in the Canterlot Catacombs is the Room of Death,
Heh.
where all of the pony skeletons are like...
All the coffins.
What about the bridesmaids chasing the flowers in the
Oh,
cavern?
that was funny.
That was great.
If you've ever been to enough weddings, that is freaking a scream, actually. That's hilarious.
And there was a minecart ride.
There was a minecart ride, yes.
Going back to the catacombs theory, minecarts usually imply that there is some sort of mineral being mined and harvested.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Diamond Dogs actually got there and we just didn't see them.
Well, Canterlot is pretty big. It's up on the mountains. It could be an entire network of caverns, and there's most likely ones underneath Ponyville. Now, let's actually take a look back at Dog and Pony Show.
Yay.
Rarity and Spike were actually up on a mountain, so as far as we know, they may actually be in the Canterlot area, and those caverns were actually networked too.
Right.
Oh, you never know.
They could have been in the same area.
And all they want is gems, so they don't have to worry about, Celestia doesn't
And
have to worry about them.
also, let's look at the Philomena episode. What was it? A Burn the Hoof?
Yes.
And when Fluttershy's talking about being banished and imprisoned in the place she's banished to,
Heh.
they also used the catacombs as a prison.
Yep.
In one of the scenes.
I see that.
Oh yeah, the what's it called? The Diamond Dogs caves. It was like the same place where
Mhm.
Rarity was being kept in one of
Same
the
place where Rarity was kept, yep.
So as far as we know, that means that these catacombs have appeared in 3 episodes so far. 4 if we're going to count the 2-parter as being 2.
Mhm.
Also, what's your guys' takes on just the 2-parter being shown back to back? And let's not forget, this is the first 2-parter season finale.
Awesome.
Yeah, I liked it because I didn't want to wait a week. If they had made me wait a week after, Twilight gets sunk into the ground, I'd have torn my hair out. What? Where did she go? Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, I'd actually gotten back from college interviews, and it was my mom and I who were watching it. And she's like, "You sure this is a kids show, right?"
What the
Buy some apples!
taco was that?
Horse apples.
Nobody likes a cliffhanger, especially if it turns out it ain't gonna happen.
Nobody likes a cliffhanger that's 6 months long.
Oh.
If you remember, what was it? Battlestar Galactica, the new Battlestar Galactica. Their cliffhanger was 7 months long. I about forgot about the whole thing until it came back on.
I hate cliffhangers. Sonic Saturday, anybody?
Also, speaking of cliffhangers, I think what they didn't want is they didn't want a repeat of the beginning of season 2, because what ended up happening is I felt that they put a lot of the energy and the great content of the two-parter into the second part. The part 1 of, I think it's Return of Harmony, it was good, it was solid, but you couldn't really show it to a newcomer as a first episode. It was just really random in that sense. And then the actual finale itself was in the second parter, and I think they just learned that it would be better this way. And let's not forget, they do have a lot of promotion for the wedding itself. Like, I think they had a wedding article in the New York Times.
Yes, they did.
They've had billboards, they've had Tori Spelling doing exclusive coverage.
There was
on
a
it.
radio station here in Texas that broadcast it, saying there was a royal wedding on My Little Pony. I was surprised. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Chrysalis is kind of like the combination of Trixie and Nightmare Moon.
Yeah.
Because she kind of has that epic Alicorn tier magic, specifically about her eyes. Like, the facial expressions and those devious grins was just textbook Trixie.
And she had Nightmare Moon's eyes, so.
Oh, the fan fiction that will spawn from this.
Also, I would like to point out, in the two-parter, when Cadence is trying out I think she was trying out the hors d'oeuvres that Applejack was preparing, you see that she actually levitates it towards her using a green aura. And if you go to the flashback, it's actually like a tealish blue. So that should have been a giveaway right away.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I kind of saw through it kind of right away. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, there was something that was very suspicious. I was wondering for a while. I thought it was an arranged marriage because Cadence was royalty, and that much was still true.
If they made it into just Cadence actually being evil, I probably would have been pissed.
I probably would have too. It's like, but then I thought, you know what? I know Hasbro's making Cadence toys, and I'm pretty sure they're not marketing her as a villain in the toys.
Nope.
So I had a feeling that there was another villain. And then there was the big question of who threatened Equestria, or specifically Canterlot, which I think Shining Armor was referring to at the beginning of the episode.
Yep.
The Changelings. Does anybody think that they are a combination of zombies and the Heartless from Kingdom Hearts?
I thought about the Heartless almost immediately, especially with the transforming. Grew up on the Kingdom Hearts games, and also who is it? I think it's like Template 68. I don't remember the number, but this person did the comics for the Story of the Blinks Flash game, and I'll link their DeviantArt page on the post.
Yeah, they reminded me more of that than it did anything else.
If you look at them Changelings, they look like undead ponies.
Yeah.
And especially with like Chrysalis having like holes in her legs and wings. But then again, I've also seen other insects that are like that they have circular cutouts in their wings and appendages. Don't know why,
She
but
reminded me more of the Queen of the Borg.
Perhaps another Star Trek reference?
Yes.
So the season 2 finale was pretty amazing. The story was rich, there were tons of new songs and characters, and Twilight fires more lasers than any pony to date. So, what are your hopes and speculations for season 3? I mean, the finale was Lauren's final episode. Will Jason carry the series in the right direction?
I think the series is in good hands, because even Lauren is saying that they're doing stuff better than she thought. So it's one of those things where I think they got the right man to lead it, and I think they got the right crew to keep it going. I just hope that they didn't run into some production snafu where all these really great people had to leave to go work on other shows because they didn't have any work for them. And that happens in animation all the time. Is they'll have a work lull and people don't get paid, and they say, well, I got to get paid, I got bills, so they go to work for some other studio because they have work, and then you lose all the talent.
Or DHS X Media or Top Draw, they say, hey, we need animators on this series. You guys aren't working.
Yep.
Let's write them over for this season.
Let's write them over for the season on this other show, and it's like all of a sudden you lose all the talent that made it great. So I'm really worried about that. But I mean, they're already working on season 3. They have to be. So yeah.
What was it when, I don't know, months ago when season 3 was announced, and they said they were only doing the 13 episodes? And I don't think it was because they were prepping the series for syndication. I think it was because they wanted to reserve the artists, the animators, the voice talent. I mean, it would be very difficult to create another season if Tara Strong was written out to do another show. They'd have to find a new Twilight Sparkle.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen.
Right. And so you see the kind of problems I would think. So I think getting the heads up to start the season sooner was more of just for the sake of reserving the crew that was currently working on the show. And there was some that left. So there was
a few that left. I think that they did the 13 basically so they get the syndication in. It's like, we're going to do 13 for sure because they're going to get syndication. So that is, okay, the show's popular enough, we're going to do the 13 for sure, so let's just book it. And now I think what they're doing is figuring out what the watch numbers were for the season finale or the whole second season, so that they can say, okay, we're going to continue this for the rest of season 3. Because right now it's still a business, guys. I mean, it's still a business. If it's not selling toys and it's not creating ad revenue for the hub, then guess what? They're going to move on to something else. I mean, they announced the Care Bears show during the My Little Pony wedding. I mean, they introduced it. So I don't know if they're trying to hook the Brony phenomenon into the next thing, but now they got another show, right? So they're going to reboot the Care Bears. So who's doing that that show and what's going on there. So it just depends on what's going on with ad money and toy money and all that other kind of stuff, because it's still a business.
I have an internet reviewer friend that may get into this whole Care Bears thing.
Yeah, I think I'll probably check it out too, more for curiosity's sake. And I think that My Little Pony is a fair argument of being the amazing show no one expected.
Yeah.
And catching people by surprise. And you know what? I'll probably sit through 2 or 3 episodes, and I think it'll be clear whether the show's heading in the right direction by that point. Don't knock it till you try it.
Speaking of hopes and speculation, I'm hoping that we see more of the family aspect of the Pegasus, because we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen Rainbow Dash's family. We haven't seen Fluttershy's family. We don't even know if Scootaloo has a family. So I'm really a little bit disappointed that they didn't touch that this season. They touched it with a lot of other characters. They didn't touch it
A lot
with
of
any
other
Pegasus at all.
unicorns. We have Twilight's family in the finale. We have
Yep.
Rarity and
We have Rarity's family.
You know what? I'm also surprised that Applejack being the family-oriented one, we don't see her parents. I mean, what is up with that?
Well, we already know that her parents are gone. Her parents have shed the mortal coil, as it were. We already know that.
When was that displayed? I must have been out.
or at least implied.
That was implied early in season 1. So she's got extended family. In fact, you see Apple Fritter and what was the other one? Apple Fritter is in the season finale working with her in the catering. And another one, Apple Bumpkin. We're both there. So the family is still there. But we don't see any of the Pegasus. So is it like birds? You kick them out of the nest and they're gone? You know? Who knows?
In terms of my thoughts on this subject, seeing as I couldn't get a word in edgewise, in my views on the subject, I'm more of a wait-and-see kind of guy. I mean, I don't jump to conclusions that much. So I'm just more of a wait-and-see kind of guy, and, you know, what they'll do and, you know, how it'll work.
They were talking to John Delancey. We don't know if he's going to be playing Discord, but we know he's involved somehow in this huge mess. I mean, it may be as simple as, like, Trixie's voice actress also voicing, you know, the new villain. You know, maybe John Delancey's going to do another villain. Maybe he'll do a protagonist. You know, he was a great comical villain. He could be a great comedian character. You know, they don't have to limit him to just villains. And then I think it was Jason who said they were trying to get a hold of Weird Al Yankovic in season 2, but he never replied. So if he's replied by now, I think there's a chance we may see an accordion playing pony in the 3rd season. And I really hope that happens.
He was on tour all last year.
You know who I would like to see in My Little Pony? I'd like to see John Glover. Like, introduce a new pony, you know, get John Glover to voice him.
Isn't he the Riddler?
Yeah, he was the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series. I would like to see that guy as a pony. I don't care if they make him a stock clone of the Riddler from Batman the Animated Series. That would probably be awesome. Enigma.
A new mysterious Mare-Duel episode with the Riddler pony. Enigma.
Well, I was thinking of writing a story with that type of character, and, you know, I'm kind of brainstorming for ideas at the moment.
As far as Mare-Duel is concerned, if they were going to revive Mare-Duel, who would play the role? Would it be Rainbow Dash trying to redeem herself, or would it be someone other than the main 6?
Ooh.
Because I think Luna would like to try catching everyone's positive attention, and Mare-Duel being all the different ponies has already been seen using magic, has already been seen flying.
Yep.
You know, so an Alicorn could still play the role. And not saying that the Alicorns have to be royalty, although they typically are, like in Cadence's case. It would make sense dressing up as a costume because security-wise they wouldn't be allowed to go out and do that sort of thing.
Yep.
I see Mare-Duel as more of a one-hit wonder. I don't know if they should. I mean, it would be admirable if they would take that risk again, but I don't know what uproar it would create.
Well, with William Anderson giving all of the Batman references and the musical score for the Mare-Duel episode, I would love to see a Riddler character combat Mare-Duel. I'm just curious how they would revive the Mare-Duel character or not. And also, Daring Do, another heroine character. She was awesome in the stories, and I'm wondering if they're going to incorporate her, kind of like test the waters for spin-offs. I don't know, maybe just have an episode focusing on another one of the books.
Establish a mythos.
Buy some apples.
I know. And what if Rainbow Dash is actually trying to hunt down the author of the series?
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Because she becomes a huge fangirl. Wouldn't that be funny?
That would depend on who you are. If you were a Rainbow Dash fan, then you would get a kick out of it.
Who isn't? Obviously, Jake isn't.
I would be more concerned if Pinkie Pie was chasing someone than Rainbow Dash, though, because Pinkie Pie is everywhere.
Well, that would create an entertaining chase scene.
Since we're talking about side characters, Iron Will, he was like a mix between antagonist and protagonist. He was like one of the performer entertainers that had good motives. Like, yeah, he was there to make profit, but, you know, he wasn't mean. He was just honestly trying to help people be assertive.
He was just a man doing his job.
Yeah. And he was one of the more morally just antagonists, and I liked that about him, that not all of them had to be textbook villains, or not all of them had to be sly like the Flim Flam brothers. And to be honest, the Flim Flam brothers were pretty good until they started cutting corners. Heck, they probably beat the Apple family till that point.
Well, I know they were villains, and I respect them for that, for expanding the character ideas, like actually creating ponies like this. But those were characters that, as I see it, didn't need to be evil. I mean, they were creating a quality product, and they were willing to distribute it. Their problem, they were too greedy for their own good.
The Diamond Dogs. They've only
Awesome.
appeared in one episode. I think there's like some of the only side characters to appear once. I think most of the other side characters have at least been in 2 episodes at this point. I mean, I know Trixie got a call out in the season 2 Gabby Gums episode.
Hate. She's in my top 10. It's basically the episode I give him the lowest rating to.
So, Diamond Dogs, I want to know more about, we're talking about season 3. I want to know about the different species. I mean, we just learned that the changelings are at war with the Equins. You know, their kind are feeding off of their love and essentially parasites.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, here's a cool bit of trivia. It is actually a part of, I think it's Eastern European folklore, that changelings were actually raised by fairies, nymphs, or trolls.
Eh.
So there's interesting. So canonizing trolls, it needs to be done eventually, just for the implications with the fandom. But with that being aside, we don't know much about the Griffins. So far we've seen 2, Gilda and the pastry, the eclair making one that we saw in the train
I
episode.
think his name is Gustav something.
Gustav.
Gustav Legrand.
Yes.
Then we have zebras. So far we only know about Zecora, and we do know that probably comes from a whole different country. It sounds like the place she came from is very different. However, Zecora, it does look like she has a cutie mark of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Or some sort of equivalent, so I want to know more about her background. And then, of course, we have the dogs and the Diamond Dogs, and why are they obsessed about the gems, and why the caverns.
Time for backstory!
I think they left it open-ended so they would have more content to work with in the future, and I'm glad.
Don't write yourself into a corner.
I was browsing Reddit and came upon this really cool piece of trivia. Daniel Ingram being really sneaky, and he slipped this really cool secret in one of the new Season 2 songs that was in the finale. So this is the quote from the Reddit post, and it says, "There was actually a double meaning in the song. So the song is in the key of D-flat major, just like Winter Wrap-Up. That means that the root chord is D-flat major chord. Usually an A-flat major chord will lead into a D-flat major. This is the 5-1 chord progression that is also known as the authentic cadence." Alright, so stick with me here. Now, it seems to resolve to a sadder chord at the end of the phrase, instead of ending in a D-flat major around 116. It lands on a B-flat minor, the relative minor to the D-flat major. Now, when a chord progression seems to be heading to the root chord, but lands on a relative minor instead, that is called a deceptive cadence.
Musical pun.
You know the guy was smart, but you didn't think he was that smart.
Maybe he's the Riddler.
He is.
Daniel Ingram is the new Riddler.
The new musical Riddler.
The music master.
Also worth noting, listening to how Twilight sings the last forever in the song, her little cadenza, seriously, I'm not making these words up,
No, you're not.
quotes the opening notes of the theme song. So, and Daniel
I
Ingram
caught that.
himself, he even admits it. So, do you think the musical symbology was inevitable? It wouldn't be the first time it's happened in the show.
I think that a guy that makes as much music as Daniel Ingram has to make running 2 shows, that he needs to do this kind of stuff to keep himself interested. Because, I mean, it's like you can only do so many types of songs so many different ways without trying to find something to keep it fresh in your mind. I've really, I mean, you can only do the same thing so many times without becoming boring. So I think that he's doing this basically to, see how smart we are, okay? How smart are you, bronies? I'm going to throw this little Easter egg in the middle of this song. See if you can find it.
And also, Dragon Quest, the Star Trek reference.
Mhm.
And in the tail wrestle battle, you hear that. William Anderson, why did you do that? I love you. And it was a wonderful moment. So I really do like the music of the series, and I know that a lot of these songs are actually drawing a lot of inspiration from other musical productions, other shows. What was it? The Flim Flam song was similar to the Music Man. It's like You Got Trouble, I think was the song.
Mm-hmm.
If that song hasn't gotten an official title, I officially dub it You Got Opportunity.
Now that I think about it, it seems like Discord would... He should definitely have the importance of returning. I'm thinking it would be pretty cool if, Chrysalis and Discord teamed up. Because, the Changelings, you imagine the Changelings having an army of Discords. I don't think that they're prepared for that level. And maybe they're not developed enough to transform into those kind of entities. We didn't see a whole bunch of Celestias running around, and only the Queen was able to transform into an Alicorn.
Why do you do this to me? You gave me this mental image of a horde of changelings marching on Minas Tirith in a cloud of chocolate rain.
If you don't mind, I'm going to ask Minarian to make that the episode artwork.
There you go. Brilliance comes around just once in a lifetime, and that was it.
So yeah, that's where it came from. Now you guys know why the art's there. And the YouTube audience gets it. The Everfree audience hasn't quite got it yet because they're not looking at the art, because they usually don't. But you guys know.
I I'm saying all this musical stuff. I mean, I know next to nothing about music, so this totally flew over my head.
Jake likes what he likes, and that's it.
Yeah, I didn't get the reference either. As I did know that cadence was a musical term, but the Easter egg, oh, that was very sneaky.
Yes,
I
it
was
was.
surprised that was in. All right, so anyone have any last words before we wrap up this recording?
Season 3 can't come soon enough.
Actually, I'll do all of these projects, and I'll go, where'd all my time go? We're starting season 3, and I haven't got all my projects done yet.
I'm gonna see if I can get the framework on my possible review show coming.
Woohoo!
I'm planning on doing one day.
Also, pony tumblers. I'd be working on one. Oh gosh, the Pony Hub Tumblr. I'm getting a lot of requests and not enough time for the amount of ponies I need to draw. But I'm having a lot of fun and also learning Flash, or the equivalent. It's actually Inkscape. Hey everyone, check out this contest by the Traveling Pony Museum. The idea is that for every $50 raised for the museum, $10 of that will be donated to Maddie Peters Charity Drive. The goal is to raise $5,000 to get the Traveling Pony Museum to Everfree Northwest and to visit sick children at the Seattle Children's Hospital before the convention. The winners of the raffle will be announced over Everfree Radio's livestream. An announcement will be made on the museum's Twitter and website for the exact time of the drawing. Visit the raffle information page for more details on the contest and their Kickstarter for what the project is all about. In addition to the raffle, the Traveling Pony Museum also has a second project you can all participate in to show Lauren Faust just how much we appreciate her bringing friendship as magic into our lives. What you do is write a letter addressed to Princess Celestia, handwritten, and send it in to Inky Notebook, the creator of the Pony Museum, via snail mail. Visit their page for more information. Also, I didn't just plagiarize Saki's blog post on Everfree Radio's word for word. I'm a creative host. Who needs scripts anyway? Speaking of hosts, go check out our site's other great programs, like Stay Brony My Friends by Dusty Cat. If you're on the West Coast like me, you can tune in to his amazing program every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific Date Time. After that, go tune in to Equestria Inquirer on Wednesdays during the same time. I've tuned into both of these programs and can assure you that they are more amazing than you can comprehend. Normally, I can't tune into Sketchy Sound's live songcast on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Pacific, but I was able to hear from him as I worked on a mandatory college assignment, and we all had a blast. If there's any music you want to hear this great musician play live, join the chat and send your requests. But wait! There's more! Every pony loves Fridays, and so does your Queen of the Night, Nightmare Moon. Join her as she takes over alongside the Lunar Republic at 4 p.m. Pacific, as viewers like you directly request your favorite songs from various Brony musicians. And to finish off this week, before you get to hear from us again on Sunday, tune in to A State of Brony at 1 p.m. Pacific on Saturday, and listen to the best trance, house, and electronic music in all of Equestria. If you have any questions, or would like to join the program as a co-host or guest, you can contact me on my official website, Vanicus.com. That's VANACUS.com. We're always looking for new speakers, and if you have the passion, I look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks for your time. See you online.
Well, you got trouble, my friend. Right here, I say trouble right here in River City. Why, sure, I'm a billiard player. Certainly mighty proud to say I'm always mighty proud to say it. I consider that the hours I spend with a cue in my hand are golden. Help you cultivate a horse sense with a cool head and a keen eye. Do you ever take and try to give an ironclad leave to yourself from a three-railed billiard shot? Well, just as I say it takes judgment, brains, and maturity to score in a balk-line game, I say that any boob can take and shove a ball in a pocket, and I call that sloth. The first big step on the road to the depths of degradé. I say first, medicinal wine from a teaspoon, then beer from a bottle. And the next thing you know, your son is playing for money in a pinchback suit and listening to some big out-of-town Jasper. Heard him tell about horse race gambling. Not a wholesome trotting race, no, but a race where they set down right on a horse. Like to see some stuck-up jockey boy sitting on tan patch make your blood boil? Well, I should say. Now, friends, let me tell you what I mean. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets on a table. Pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital B, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. And all week long, your River City youth will be frittering away. I say your young men will be frittering away their noontime, supper time, chore time too. Get the ball in the pocket. Never mind getting dandelions pulled at the screen door patched or the beefsteak pounded. Never mind pumping any water till your parents are caught with the cistern empty on a Saturday night, and that's trouble. Yes, you got lots and lots of trouble. I'm thinking of the kids in the Knickerbocker shirt-tail young ones peeking in the pool hall window after school. You got trouble. Folks right here in River City. Trouble with a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. Now, I know all you folks are the right kind of parents. I'm gonna be perfectly frank. Would you like to know what kind of conversation goes on while they're loafing around that hall? They'll be trying out Bevo, trying out Cubebs, trying out tailor-mades like cigarette fiends, and bragging all about how they're gonna cover up a telltale breath with sense. And one fine night, they leave the pool hall, heading for the dance at the Armory. Libertine men and scarlet women and ragtime, shameless music that'll grab your son, your daughter, with the arms of the jungle, animal instinct, mass hysteria. Friend, Cleanse the idle brain as the devil's playground. Trouble!
Oh, we got trouble.
Right here in River City.
Right here in River City.
With a capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool.
That stands for pool.
We've surely got trouble.
We surely got trouble.
Right here in River City.
Right here.
Gotta figure out a way to keep the young ones moral after school.
Our children gonna have trouble.
Mothers of River City, heed that warning before it's too late. Watch for the telltale signs of corruption. The minute your son leaves the house, does he rebuckle his knickerbockers below the knee? Is there a nicotine stain on his index finger? A dime novel hidden in the corn crib? Is he starting to memorize jokes out of Captain Billy's whiz bag? Are certain words creeping into his conversation? Words like swell. And so's your old man. Well, if so, my friends, you got trouble! Right here in River City!
Right here in River City.
With a capital T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool.
That stands for pool.
We've surely got trouble!
We surely got trouble.
Right here in River City!
Right here.
Remember the Maine, Plymouth Rock, and the Golden Rule!
Our children gonna have trouble.
Oh, we got trouble. We're in terrible, terrible trouble. That game with the 15 numbered balls is the devil's tool.
Devil's tool.
Oh, yes, we got trouble, trouble, trouble.
Oh, yes, we got trouble. Yes, we got big trouble.
With a T. You gotta rhyme it with P.
That's right, the T.
And that stands for pool.
That stands for
Well, looky what we got here, brother of mine. It's the same in every town. Ponies with thirsty throats, dry tongues, and not a drop of cider to be found. Maybe they're not aware that there's really no need for this teary despair.
And the key that they need to solve the sad cider shortage you and I will share. Well, you've got opportunity in this very community. He's Flam, we're the world-famous Flim Flam Brothers. Travel and sales, ponies,
Non-pare, and that's exactly the reason why, you see. The pony elves in this whole place will give you such a chance to be where you need to be. And that's a new world with tons of cider, fresh squeezed and ready for drinking.
More cider than you could drink in all your days of thinking.
I doubt that.
So take this opportunity in this very community. He's Flam, we're the world-famous Flim Flam Brothers. Traveling sales, ponies,
I suppose by now you're wondering about our peculiar mode of transport.
I say, a mode of locomotion.
And I suppose by now you're wondering, where is this promised cider?
Any horse can make a claim, and any pony can do the
But
same.
my brother and I have something most unique and superb, unseen at any time in this big new world.
And that's opportunity.
Folks, the one and only, the biggest and the best.
The unbelievable.
Unimpeachable.
Indispensable.
I can't believable.
Flim Flam Brothers Super Speedy Cider Squeezy 6000.
What do you say, sister?
Oh, we got opportunity in this very community. Please, Flam, help us out of this jam with your Flim Flam Brothers Super Speedy Cider Squeezy 6000.
Young Philly, I will be ever so honored if you might see fit to let my brother and I borrow some of your delicious, and might I add spellbindingly fragrant apples for our little demonstration here?
Sure, I guess.
Opportunity in our community.
Ready, Flam, let's bing bang zam, and show these thirsty ponies a world of delectable cider. Watch closely, my friends.
The fun begins.
Now here's where the magic happens. Right here in this heaving, roiling, cider press, boiling guts of the very machine. Those apples flood fresh are right now, as we speak, being turned into grade A, top-notch, 5-star, blow your horses off one-of-a-kind cider.
Feel free to take a sneak peek.
Now wait, you fellers, hold it! You went and oversold it! I guarantee that what you have there won't compare. For the very most important ingredient can't be added or done expedient, and it's quality friends of Lakers, quality and care.
Well, Granny, I'm glad you brought that up, my dear. I say I'm glad you brought that up. You see that we are very picky when it comes to cider, if you'll kindly try a cup.
Yes, sir, yes, ma'am, this great machine, it's just the very best. So what do you say then, apples? Get a step into the modern world and put the Super Speedy Cider Squeezy 6000 to the test.
What do you think, folks? Do you see what the apples can't. I see it clear as day. I know she does. So does he. Come on, Ponyville. You know what I'm talking about.
We're saying you've